some decisions you should make for yourself are how to protect yourself online. Now, if you want to tell us how you do it, we'd love to hear from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Don't want to get too technical, but there are some basic terms you kind of need to know, like PGP, which is a privacy protocol, basically. And then there's all kinds of encrypted messengers out there now that didn't exist a few years ago. So the market, I think, has been responding to this, although Daryl's got some interesting numbers from a survey of Americans about what they think about the federal government snooping on them and how their opinions have changed since just last year. We'll get into that here in a moment, but if you care about privacy, we've got a great tool that can help you. It's ProXPN. Now, they're a global virtual private network that encrypts your online data. That means your internet service provider is not looking at what you're doing anymore. They can't log what you're up to. They can't log the websites you visit or the search terms you enter, which they're probably logging right now, and then maybe keeping that information for up to 5 years. So if the feds come along and you've got Comcast or whatever, and the feds come knocking, they're going to hand over all your search history. They're going to hand over all your websites that you've been to. If you'd prefer that not happen, then go to proxpn.com/FTL and get signed up, get started, download their free software for Windows, Macintosh, iOS devices, as well as Android, plus Linux users. Setup's a little bit different for you, but you can make it work with Linux pretty simply. proxpn.com/FTL. The code you need to get 50% off the annual account is FTL50. Now, again, you can get started for free, but the free account's limited in what you can do. The premium account is really what you want. That's where you get the unlimited bandwidth, servers around the world to access, and the ability to privately torrent, plus get past regionally blocked websites. Go to proxpn.com/FTL. And again, use code FTL50 to get that 50% off and bring the price down to about $5 a month. That's on the annual account, by the way. There's another way to get an even better discount, because if 50% isn't enough for you, pay with Bitcoin and you'll get 62% off the price of the annual account by using code FTLBTC. You get it all with a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee, and they don't keep records of your online habits at all. So get a great discount on privacy that's priceless. Use code FTL50 or FTLBTC at proxpn.com/FTL. Now, ProXPN is a great service, but it's not the only thing you need. There are some other things that I would recommend. So, for instance, ProXPN, they encrypt your internet connection, but ultimately, once your data gets to ProXPN servers and goes out from there to the rest of the internet, it's not encrypted, because it can't be encrypted when it gets to the end of its target. If you're just visiting freetalklive.com and you start sending us encrypted info, we're not going to know what to do with it. So when you're communicating with people online, there are things that you can do to encrypt your communications to make it so that if somebody does intercept those communications, that they'll just see a bunch of garbage characters and they won't know what it is that they're looking at. And there are always new tools that are coming out in this realm. And I was just actually informed of one of them today, which I'm pretty excited about. So you guys probably have cell phones, right? Both of you have cell phones.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I called you from it once.
Do you have an encrypted messaging app on your cell phone?
No.
My chromed robot turd does not have an encrypted messaging app.
So there's an app that I've been using for a few years now called Text Secure, which is, I believe, to be a good one. Right now, I don't know for sure. I am not a programmer, so I can't.
How could you ever know?
That's the thing. I can't audit the program, so I don't know. But some of these programs, and Text Secure, I believe, is one of them, are what's called open source, meaning that the programming language, the actual lines of program that you could read, if, then, else, all that stuff, that's all readable by anyone in the public. And anybody who knows the programming could go in there and they can look through that program and they can say, yes, this is a secure program. This program is, it does not have any backdoors built into it. I've looked at the code. I know that's true. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that would be what a technical person would say, a coder would be able to do. So Text Secure has been around for a long time. Presumably, it's one of the better ones. There's a new one that just came out. This one is called Telegram. Now, Text Secure, what it does, and I think it's available for both iPhone and Android phones. I know I have it on my Android phone. But what it does is it actually encrypts your text messages from one phone to another. So text messages go over the cell phone network. They don't use necessarily, you don't have to have an internet connection. So you can send a text message. Maybe you've noticed this with your phone. If you're ever not in a data zone, and you go back to just regular phone mode where you can't get on the internet, you can still send a text message in that circumstance. So because you don't need data service to send text messages. So that's one of the things that TextSecure is nice for, because a lot of the online texting apps, you have to have data in order to be able to use those apps. You can't send a message to your friends unless you're in an area that has data coverage. So with TextSecure, you can be anywhere where there's just plain old cell phone coverage and be able to send encrypted texts to your friends. So that's a pretty valuable thing to have, and I don't plan on replacing TextSecure. I think it's very good, and I've never seen anything that competes with TextSecure, unfortunately, but it works, and it seems to work very well. So if somebody, if the cell phone company wants to go and pull up my phone's files or, look at my records to see who I've been texting, they'll know to which numbers I've been texting. Because, again, you have to put in that person's number to send the text over a cell phone network. But they won't be able to read them. It'll just be gobbledygook. So that's pretty cool. But this new thing, and I was using a different program called SureSpot for a little while, which is not a texting program. It's just like an instant messaging program. The difference being that texting is over the cell phone network. Instant messaging, you need data for. So I was using this for instant messaging, and I was just informed of a new one, which is called Telegram. This is in alpha. So normally you don't generally want to download alpha software because it can be really buggy. But it was recommended to me by actually the guys who programmed the Free Talk Live website, the designers. And they said they've been really enjoying
I trust
this.
them.
Yeah, they said they've been enjoying this. The website for Telegram claims that, it's open source and you can go and look at the code. And basically what this does that I've not seen before is it's something that's usable across different platforms. So I have the Telegram program on my computer, and I have the Telegram program on my Android phone. So I guess Google Hangouts does this, but you can't encrypt with Google Hangouts. So with this program, Telegram, if I send a message, let's say, Ellen, you were on the Telegram program, we would both have an encrypted connection. I could send you a message from my home, the studio computer here. It would show up on your cell phone, and it would also show up on my cell phone as well, because I have the same program in both places.
Well, that sounds useful.
Question about the app on the computer.
Yes.
Are you sending this through like a Google Voice, or you're sending it through the app?
Through the internet. You're sending it through the app, through the internet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it creates something other than a telephone number that you wind up getting your text through.
Well, that's the thing.
That's what confuses me.
Okay, so right. So when I downloaded the programs, I first tried the Windows program, the desktop program, and it would not let me start until I actually had a phone number punched into it. So I needed to have a phone. There seemed to be another way to do it, and I didn't explore that other way. So there may be a way to create an account without having a phone with this program. I suspect there is. But so what I ended up doing was going on my phone, installing it there, creating an account on the phone, and then it was easy to log in on the computer. So basically, you send a text from any of your devices, and it's pretty cool. Like when I logged in to this program for the first time, Brian and Stephanie from the Sunday Show, they were already in there because they're already in the system for this particular network.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. You can check it out at telegram.org. It's kind of cool to bring the term Telegram back to It's Free Talk Live. What are some of the cool encrypted apps that we don't know about? I've talked about TextSecure, which is one for cell phones. I believe both iPhone and Android. It actually encrypts your texting, which is cool. There's also the brand new Telegram app, which is ooh, that's my Telegram app. I need to find out how to turn the damn sounds off. That
sounds pretty nice, though.
That will
a lot
actually,
more pleasant.
It'll allow you to text across your platform. So I'm on a Windows machine, and I've got my Android phone, and there's a Telegram app for both of those, and I think Mac and probably Linux. I don't have the site pulled up at the moment. Telegram.org is where you can go and check that out. Again, they claim they're open source. They claim that you can audit their code and that they're encrypted. Rod is with us in Canada. You're on via Skype. Hello, Rod.
Hi, guys. I wanted to talk about some privacy tools.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there is an add-on for Firefox and for Chrome that's called HTTPS Everywhere.
Okay, I want to know what that means. I want it explained in as English as possible. And so hang on, Rod. We're going to bring you back to do that with us here in a moment. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. This one I've seen, but I never really knew what it was. I didn't take the time to look into it. So we'll see why Rod thinks it's pretty exciting and useful. Coming up here in moments, you share your thoughts. Let's bring Rod back on the line. He is with us via Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. Now, Rod, you were going to tell us about some of your favorite apps for helping you stay private online, and you said HTTPS Everywhere is one of them. What is that, and why is it useful?
Well, basically, there's two ways that your browser can communicate with a website. One is in plain text that everybody can read, and the other one is encrypted. Not all websites support this, but if the website supports it, then this app, this add-on, forces your communication, forces the website to use the encrypted form.
Mm-hmm. So normally, if you look on if you've got a web browser up, and if you're looking at a website where the URL area is, you'll see the HTTP. That's the not secure version. But if it's HTTPS, that means it's secure.
That's right. And there is sometimes even a little padlock there that you can see. And then so this add-on will force the secure way of communicating with the website.
Now, just to be clear, what that does is it only secures the transmission of the data from your computer to their server, right?
That's right.
So once the data reaches their server, if you're giving them information, credit card numbers, whatever, if they aren't storing that data in a secure manner, then having it secured over the internet's good because nobody can sniff out your packets and find out what you're, if you're at a coffee shop and somebody's doing packet sniffing, they won't be able to rip your credit card numbers from the airwaves. So it's not a bad idea to have HTTPS, but it's not like a panacea.
That's right. And you can get this from EFF.org. The installation process is extremely easy. Anybody can do it. And also there's another thing which is a tiny bit more complicated. It's called DNS Crypt. And this basically encrypts your query to the DNS resolver. Now, this is a little complicated, but basically the internet doesn't understand, for example, lrn.fm, that website name. The internet doesn't understand that. What it understands is a bunch of numbers. So the DNS resolver is a company or a service that translates lrn.fm into the numbers so that your computer can communicate with the website.
Okay, just to be clear, DNS is the lookup system for the internet.
That's
so
right.
when you type in freetalklive.com, the DNS is the system that you're talking about, where your computer sends the request out saying, I want to go to freetalklive.com, and this sort of internet phone book DNS comes back with, oh, well, that's located at 93.whatever.whatever.whatever. And so then your system then knows where to actually inquire to look for the website. This all happens within a fraction of an instant. I mean, it's not a long process. So what you're saying is this DNS crypt. This is a program, and so it's a program for your computer that interfaces with an encrypted DNS service. So you'd have to update your router with new DNS information?
Not necessarily. I didn't have to do it through my router. The computer itself did it, and basically the DNS resolver that I'm using is the same one, OpenDNS.
Oh, okay.
But it's just encrypting my communication between my computer and OpenDNS.
So OpenDNS can handle decrypting that, or is it every DNS that can handle that?
Yes, they can handle. No, I don't think it's every DNS.
So
but
there's
I think
specific ones.
When you install a DNS crypt, it gives you a list of DNS resolvers that are supported, and you can choose which one you want.
So this is interesting. This is very interesting, because what this is going to do is it'll make it so like your internet service provider won't know even what requests you're sending out. Not only whatever the data is that's coming back, but they won't even know what you're looking for, right?
Exactly. So you're encrypting the last mile. So let's say that you can't use a VPN because some websites won't let you log in with a VPN.
Okay.
Then if you have HTTPS everywhere plus DNS crypt, you have a pretty private communication. The
Cool.
other thing that you could add is to stop using, or not stop using, but avoid the Google search engine and start using one of the more private search engines like
Like Start Page.
DuckDuckGo. Start Page is one, definitely, and there's another one called DuckDuckGo, which is also very
I use
private.
that one.
Yeah, it's very good. And so those are the three tools that I had in mind for tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Rod. I
I
think,
just
and I hope
I just had one more
Yeah, sure.
comment. I knew that Ellen was extremely intelligent, but boy, is she pretty.
Yes, she
No,
is.
no wonder
you.
you have her on the frontal angle of the webcam.
Yes, you've got it all figured out, Rod. Thank you very much for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. And thanks for I think did we make that understandable? I mean, did I lose anybody of you two in that technical
I
discussion?
already kind of knew about HTTPS everywhere. It's
doesn't
not a
answer the
program
question.
that I use,
Right.
but I knew what it was.
Even though you knew what it was it understandable what we were saying?
I think so.
I don't ever want to talk over the heads of somebody who's listening, and I know that even just talking about the internet can be frustrating for some people.
Right, because
So-
like I don't know how the internets work, or like the tubes or whatever it is that winds up
Well, there's big
causing
tubes and little tubes.
like I press buttons and then
Yeah.
things show up on my screen. That's pretty much what I know. I know
That's
how
what most
to
people know, though.
like I know how to do website coding and other stuff. So some of the more technical stuff I kind of understand, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I think it was very good information. The other one, what was DNS Crypt, was one that I had never heard of. So
Yeah, that was new for me.
I
I made
think-
a note on that one.
yeah, I think that there are ways that, even with a VPN, you should do some of these extra things to try to, make yourself even more secure.
So we were talking about some useful apps. We've discussed Text Secure, which is a texting app that sends encrypted text over the cell phone network. So you don't have to have a data connection for Text Secure to work, which is really cool. I love Text Secure. There's also a couple of other apps that are pretty useful. There's Red Phone.
That's the one that Commissioner Gordon uses to call Batman.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. I don't know if they had encryption there, but I imagine they could have. It's fantasy. Now you have encryption in reality, and from what I understand, Red Phone is the same company that makes Text Secure. And Red Phone, these are both free apps. You can just download them for, I think, both iPhone and Android. I have an Android, so iPhone users, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this. But you download the app, you install it, and then anybody else who has Red Phone, you can make an encrypted call to them. Now, you do have to have internet service. You have to have data service to make an encrypted call. But it's there, and from what I understand, it works.
So if you were to have, say, a limited plan where you had something like, unlimited call and text, but only 2 gigabytes of data per month, then you wouldn't be able to make these encrypted calls if you ran out of
If you ran
data.
out of data, well, a lot of plans will throttle you. They will slow you down. And I don't know to what speed they slow you down to. So, for instance, if you're on a 4G network or even a 3G network, your speeds are probably 1 megabit per second to 10 megabits per second, and that's pretty fast. So if they throttle you down from there, you don't need much more than 64 kilobits a second to send voice information somewhere. So I can't tell you for sure, Ellen, whether or not the Red Phone app will work if you've maxed out your gigabytes. That would be an interesting question for someone to check out. But it doesn't matter if you're on a Wi-Fi connection, right? Like if you're on a Wi-Fi data, then there's no limits there, etc.
Right.
So the app's there. It's useful. It's another one for you to check out when you get a chance.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.